You know, there's the girl you thought you were going to be with, and then there's the girl you end up with. And sometimes you're thankful you ended up with her because you saw what this one did. This is a BMW M3, and this is a Tesla Model 3 Performance. This has been way overdue on my channel. I've owned the BMW M2, Focus ST, Civic Si. I love traditional sports cars, but I also appreciate electric cars, and I don't see a reason for people to just hate on them without ever having to drive them themselves. This comparison is incredible. The M3 is probably, as far as following goes, it's up there with the Golf GTI. It's incredibly popular, and when you drive them, you quickly understand why. So this is Isle of Man green. It's an M3 competition, rear-wheel drive. So you have the carbon fiber roof. It's just beautiful. BMW LEDs up front. They made some adjustments to the 2025 models, had about a 20 horsepower gain. The interior saw some updates with a new steering wheel, but the Model 3 Performance in ultra red is an incredible value. It's the best performance value on the market. There's nothing that provides more power and more technology at this price point on the market. It's not even close. This is an $82,000 car. This is a $55,000 car. It's a $27,000 difference between both of these. This has all-wheel drive. This has rear-wheel drive. You can get this in xDrive, but that costs even more. So you're knocking on $90,000. Now, what about horsepower? This has 503 horsepower, but if you get it with the manual transmission, it gets 473 horsepower. And then if you go up to xDrive, it's like 523 horsepower. No matter what Tesla Model 3 you get, you're getting 510 horsepower and all-wheel drive. The other thing you're getting on the Model 3 Performance is an adaptive suspension and forged wheels. This also has an adaptive suspension and forged wheels. This gets 303 miles of range, and the tank on this in the car said like 430 miles of range when I picked it up. So if you drive it efficiently, you can get a lot more range out of this vehicle. The other thing to note is both of these have staggered wheels in a slightly different way. So this has 19s up front. This has 20s up front, but this has 20s in the back with 275 width. This has 20s in the back with a 285 width. So both have a staggered wheel setup. The competition has a beautiful carbon fiber roof to reduce weight and lower the center of gravity, but the Model 3 has a heavy battery underneath it that keeps the center of gravity really low and makes the handling on this incredible. They've also kept the panoramic roof because the center of gravity is so low. They didn't delete this. I don't know if Tesla will ever go to the extent of putting carbon fiber roofs on their vehicles, but we'll see. The other thing that's interesting, now, you can say what you want. Oh, well, on the track, this will do better, or that will do better, or this will the battery will overheat, blah, blah, blah. 90% of you are never going to the track. You're taking this to work. You're going on road trips. You're picking up kids from school. So we have to talk about the practicality of them. Now, this obviously has an engine up front. This has a storage compartment up front here. So you have a ton of storage in the Model 3 Performance. We also need to talk about the back seat. So I will get into my driver position in the Model 3. And then I will jump into the back. And I want to talk about the creature comforts. We'll put the window down so we can chat through the window, folks. Isn't that nice? Also, how about little Christmas came early at the Gjeebs organization with a green and red vehicle? All right, so back to the Model 3. It's nice. You have a beautiful high-resolution 8-inch touch display. When I'm taking my kids somewhere and they're acting up, I'm able to throw this on this screen and I'm able to control it from the front seat. So you can throw on Miss Rachel, you can turn on Mr. Rogers, you can put on Daniel Tiger, Sophia the First, Spidey, whatever you're thinking, you can throw that on this screen, and they can even put the sound back here so you don't have Doc McStuffins, and you're singing that and you're losing your mind. So you can put that on, and the creature comforts of this are excellent. But let's talk about leg room. I don't know. What do we have? 3 or 4 inches? I don't know. What do we have? 6 or 7? I don't know. Let's go to the back of the M3. I have my driving position there. Wow, we're going back in time. Okay. All right, so back of the M3, actually, you get a little more room back here. So both seats are comfortable. There's no seat back pockets on the M3 or the Model 3. And then you have this just traditional vents here in the middle. And then you have this huge tunnel here, which you do not have in the Model 3, which takes up a ton of leg space. So there is more space in the rear of the Model 3. The leg room is Why is my left leg significantly shorter than my right? What's going on? Is this slanted? I think this is slanted. I don't really know what's going on here. There's actually a little more room for your toes in the back of the Model 3, but leg room seems to be about the same in both of them. There's just a big lack of technology in the back of the M3. And keep in mind, this is where these traditional manufacturers are lacking. If we're just talking about technology, okay? This thing costs 80 grand. It's 30 grand less for that. And I'm streaming 4K footage in the back of the vehicle from YouTube seamlessly. It works, okay? We'll come around to the back here. Now, by the way, which of these looks better? That's so hard. They're both beautiful vehicles. The G80 M3, to me, they've done an excellent job with the redesign. The quad tips here, BMW is so good. At first, when they released the vehicle, you go, that's dumb. Who would ever buy that? And then a few months later, you're like, all right, let's check the used market to see if they've depreciated. No powered trunk. I was surprised to see that. It opens up automatically, but there's no button to close it. And if you're driving this, you're an executive. You don't have time to go pull your shoulder out for the tennis match later that afternoon. Nice amount of storage in the back of the M3, but the Tesla Model 3, and we do have a carbon spoiler here in the Model 3, BMW with black plastic. What are we cutting costs over there? Back of the Model 3, again, huge storage space, and when we go below down here, a ton of room. Now, the other thing you may be wondering to yourself is how did I get this BMW M3? So I rented this through Turo. So I just went on a trip to Texas and rented a Model 3. I rented this in Phoenix through Turo. You're able to go through, search by airport, search by the location you're going to, and you're able to skip the rental counter, which is so annoying, and just go to your vehicle. Now, when I was in Dallas, they have a specific Turo lot. Out in Phoenix, I just drove to the host's location and was able to rent this beautiful BMW M3. You can rent M4s, you can rent Porsches, you can rent a Toyota, I almost said a Toyota Sentra, Nissan Sentra. You can rent a minivan. You can rent whatever you want and get specifically what you want because it's VIN allocation. You look at the pictures of the car you're going to rent, you show up to the Turo location, whether that's at the airport or if you drive to them or if they pick you up from the airport, and you get exactly the car you want and have the experience you want. When I went on my honeymoon to Hawaii, I rented a BMW M4 in Maui through a Turo host, and it just made the trip better because I got to rent, because I love cars, I got to rent exactly what I wanted. So if you don't already have the Turo app, you can use the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description. Turo's been gracious enough to sponsor the channel, which I really appreciate, and it's a perfect alignment because I'm always reviewing and driving cars, so this is excellent. So I highly recommend you do that. Check out Turo in the QR code and check the link in the description. Now back to this review. So the other thing on the rear of the Model 3, before the Model 3 was a much less serious of a performance car because it was just straight line fast, and then that shocked everyone. But over time, you're like, okay, it needs more. So they've added the adaptive suspension. They also have an active rear diffuser here. So this actually works with the car to move air better under and up out of the center of the vehicle, which I think is really cool that it's actually active aero. Whereas over on the BMW M3, this is just a plastic bumper here. I don't know that this is actually active aero. I just think it looks cool. The other thing that Tesla's done a really nice job of is upgrading these seats. So these buckets are beautiful. They are heated and cooled, and then you also have the ludicrous badging right here. It's actually dimensional too, so it has some dimension to it, and that matches the badge on the back of the vehicle. Again, the BMW doesn't have, you can get heated and cooled seats. It's a $500 option on an $80,000 car. So that's where it starts to add up. And you may be asking yourself, and we're going to drive both of these to talk about the differences. But again, daily usability. This has the ability to drive itself. You can leave it on keep. The app works perfectly. So let's just take a quick look at the app. And by the way, I'm not trying to get you to buy one of these cars or the other. I'm just showing you the differences between them. So look at the app. So here's the app. You can go up in here and you can actually, all of this stuff works incredibly well. So climate, for example, if I want to turn the rear heated seat on, it's turned on. If I want to turn on the front seat and make it cooled, I can do that. And I can do it all remotely, and it happens immediately, and it works really well. There's also keep mode. And you can also see if the air is actually moving. So you can see this illustration showing the air moving into the front seats, meaning it's cooling down. Interior 77, exterior 79, and then you can turn it off and you can close the windows and look at the window. It's moving immediately. That's the thing. BMW has an app. It does not work anywhere near as well as this does. You also might have to pay for the app. I don't know that for sure, but the Tesla app is free and it works every time. And that's what I really enjoy about it. So the seats are really nicely done. They're very comfortable. The side bolsters are aggressive enough to keep you in tight. But one of the things that BMW does, and it goes an extra step further, is their side bolsters are actually adjustable. So you have this button down here, which moves these side bolsters in and out. And that is a really nice feature that the BMW has. You also have this leg support that extends there, and that's a cool feature as well. So the BMW is not by any means a non-luxury vehicle, but in terms of technology, it lacks significantly behind the Tesla. And a lot of what you're going to be using on a daily basis is the acceleration. So now what we need to do is talk about ride quality and actually driving these things. So let's jump in both of these vehicles and take them for a spin. Also had to switch hats here so everybody knows what the hell I'm driving. All right, let's drive this thing. So right off the bat, this obviously has an engine in it. Twin turbo V6. This adjusts how aggressive you want the shifts to be. Do you want it to be really aggressive? You want them to bang off? Then you put it in setting 3. If you want it to be softer, you put it in setting 1. There's 3 settings. But right off the bat, there is just a level of excitement with this because it has an engine to it. It has a really nice exhaust note to it. It's just a more visceral experience, obviously. The other thing is there's a rattle somewhere in the steering wheel, and everyone will say, oh, Tesla's build quality. Absolutely correct. They have certainly had their build quality issues. I think a lot of that, I'd say 90% of that is resolved. I'd also say that they are probably on par with just about everyone else. So that's my opinion on it. I've seen it go from bad to better, so I don't know. I just think it varies, and I don't think everyone has the excellent build quality that you think they have. So again, the steering wheel is really thick. It's borderline too girthy. Girth Nation is strong in this thing, but the suspension feels good, and I'm in an aggressive setting. So if I take it out of that and I go to screen, kind of a pain to use because there's 1,000 apps. Okay, so there's all my settings right now. There, we're in comfort now. See how that feels. Speed bump. Does not have the Sydney Sweeney effect in this thing. It's very tight. Let's see over this one. It's not bad. And the weights of these vehicles, this is just under 4,000 pounds. The Mazda, I wanted to call it, the Tesla, is just over 4,054 pounds. This is like 3,900 pounds in this configuration. So this is 100 pounds less. This is probably low to mid 3s in 0 to 60. The Model 3 is low 3s, and it can break 3 when it's under perfect conditions. So, but it's also all-wheel drive. This is going to have trouble putting the power down. All right, so we'll put it into our... I mean, it is so... Yeah, having traction issues. Again, it's not the perfect comparison because this is rear-wheel drive. But again, on the street, putting the power down, the value of the vehicle. But there is absolutely no denying how fun and exciting that this is to drive. It brings that level of excitement to it that you're going to be looking forward to driving this. Not that the Model 3 Performance doesn't have that, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, okay? In my opinion, this just has an extra level of excitement to it if this is your thing. A lot of people that drove Teslas, they like them, but they never were into cars. I mean, this thing is insanely quick. But the Model 3 Performance, this is building power. Okay, so you feel the power coming on, it's excitement, the turbos are spooling, all of that. Whereas the Model 3, it is an instant mash of power straight down into earth, propelling you forward. And this is having trouble with traction because it's rear-wheel drive. So if this is your thing, if the gas car is your thing, you're not going to be mad that you bought a BMW M3. With that said, the Model 3 has these performance features, but a lot more to it. So let's jump in the Model 3 performance and see what I'm talking about. So now into the Model 3, a lot less going on in here. You don't have 1,000 controls on the steering wheel. You don't have buttons up here, shifter, all of that. It's very simple. Also, this is aftermarket. I installed that for a separate video, so I will have that. I'll show that linked in the description. But let me show you kind of the driving dynamics of the vehicle. So you go here under Dynamics, and then here are your 3 acceleration modes. So 0 to 60 is 2.9 in Insane, 3.9 in Standard, and then in Chill, it's like 7. And then for ride and handling, you can go to Sport mode, which tightens up the suspension and the damping and all of that stuff, and it actually does a nice job. For the road, I mainly stay in Standard, but that's that, and you can adjust your steering weight. You can have track mode here. You can have like drift preset. You can have your own preset, and right now the battery is heating up to give you proper motor temperature to get maximum performance. So you can really go in depth. This is what I'm talking about, like, whereas, and you can also set a finish line, which is funny. In the past, when Teslas haven't been that serious in terms of performance, they were just straight line vehicles. They now have really some great drive modes that make you look like a better driver than you are and are fully customizable. The other thing I will say, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is a way more comfortable vehicle. The seats are more comfortable. The suspension is quieter. The M3, now again, it's a performance vehicle. Both of these are performance vehicles, but you're going to be using it so much more on the road. I would think you'd want to have a more comfortable vehicle. So, plus, if you can afford one of these vehicles, you're probably 30, 40, 50, 60, okay? You're not in your 20s anymore. Your back's blown out. You have a blown out back from sitting in a computer, from being a plumber, from being, who knows? I don't know what you are. Maybe going up and down the pole and you blew your back out doing that. We don't know. But either way, you're going to want a little bit more comfort, and this just has it, especially, I don't know, 55 grand, it has all of these features to it. Turn signals are now on the steering wheel. They just changed that. So the 26 models of the Model 3, there you'll have a turn signal stock over here. And the other thing you will have is, for $500, you can get it added back from the factory if you want to. So we're going to do a little bit of driving in this. But yeah, I'm actually surprised the suspension, I don't know, it's like noticeably better. Steering wheel feels good. I will say I think I prefer the M3's steering wheel for performance. It just feels like a more purpose-built steering wheel, whereas this is the same steering wheel that's in other Model 3s. This has the carbon fiber trim up here, and that is unique to the Model 3 performance, as well as the carbon spoiler in the back. The weaves match, so that's cool. And then the other thing you might have noticed is I have these red floor mats in here from 3dmatsusa.com, so you can go to their website and add those in. Code Gjeebs 3D40 is for these plush premier carpeted liners. Code Gjeebs 3D10 for all of their other liners. These are the best floor mats. They also make them for BMW as well, but they have what's called Max Spider technology on the bottom of them, so it sticks really well like Velcro. But you know how Velcro frays carpet? This doesn't do that. You can peel them right up, but they stick. They don't move. And the fitment is excellent because they laser scan all of the cars. So I highly recommend those. I've also been using them for like over 5 years now, and they've come to actually sponsor the channel. So highly recommend 3dmatsusa.com, and then my discount codes are in the description. The other thing that I like about the Model 3 is it's single pedal driving. So when you let off, it will actually come to a stop. When you are at these low 10, 5 mile per hour speeds in the M3, it's actually kind of jerky. They'll jerk your style, but they won't jerk you up. And the instantaneous speed in this thing is crazy. And I'm only going 25, but it's like, the thing is, you get to enjoy your speed without bothering anyone else. And that's kind of like the sleeper part of this vehicle. Whereas the BMW M3 has a great exhaust sound to it, this is like you get to enjoy all of that performance, and this puts the power down a lot better. Like, I get full and immediate power out of this thing. Whereas the M3, one thing I learned about driving that is I would not get an M3 in rear wheel drive. There's too much power. It cannot put it down. This having all wheel drive, you get like 100% of the power. And yeah, it just seems to work really well. In terms of putting the power down, you kind of have to go with xDrive from BMW. That's just, you're just going to get more out of it. Plus you can use that in winter and all that stuff and you'll be fine there. Yeah, I just like how this car is sprung better. I just like the suspension, surprisingly, a lot better on the Model 3. And then it just absolutely unleashes on power. Yeah, I gotta say, in terms of a daily driver, the Model 3 is the buy here. It saves you a ton of money. It costs way less over time. Insurance is probably about the same on them. Mine costs me $135 a month on my Model 3. But the running costs on this are going to be far lower. It's way cheaper to charge this at home. It's like $6 for me to charge up at home. And that gets probably on normal driving 250 miles of range. It's rated for 303, but you're not driving. That's at 65 miles per hour. So yeah, overall for the daily driver, and then for like the software capabilities, like I'll put it into autopilot now. Now this comes with the car. This is free. So this is what's great. Like in traffic, it will stay in your lane and it will drive you. So the M3 is not going to have this type of capability on these roads here. Let's see what it does here. We're going to wreck. That guy was in my lane and the car didn't know what to do with that information. But you can see it on this description here. It shows kind of the road and then we'll keep you in your lane. Now on a road like this is different than full self-driving. Full self-driving will handle this a lot better than autopilot will. But again, it has that capability when you're out on the interstates and you're commuting to work and you're sitting in traffic. This is so relaxing to have, and it comes with the vehicle. And then on top of that, you could pay the $8,000 for full self-driving. I don't know that that's really worth it, but a lot of people have purchased it and really love it. So that's just totally up to you. So I just think from a daily driver perspective, you're going to be a lot happier with the Model 3 performance over time. You may get bored with it if you're someone that switches cars out every few years. You probably want to consider leasing this, whereas the M3 is going to hold its value more. It's still going to lose value, but it's not going to lose as much as a Model 3. And my thing is with people is just stay in your car like as long as you can. Really get the exact car you want and keep it for 5 to 10 years, as opposed to every 2 to 3 years, people are moving cars. And it's just like, for what? We're putting themselves in bad financial situations so they go, oh, I got this new button here. It's just stupid. So yeah, I like the steering better on the Model 3. I like the suspension better. I like the overall comfort. With the M3, I like the sound of it. I like the visceral feel that it has. But if you're looking for the better performance daily driver, once you drive these things, it's very obviously the Model 3 for a lot of reasons. Now, Tesla just released 2 of their cheapest models ever. They're the Model 3 Standard and the Model Y Standard. And if you want to see those and how those compare to see what they removed from them, it's actually pretty extreme. Click this video right here.